Good morning, good afternoon, good day, of course, depending where you are watching us from. And yes, we are One Africa, and the show is called Rope for Hope with me, your host, Dr. Hope Sibuyi, and we are here to give you the best. But before we continue, I want to remind you, please do subscribe and make sure you like and tune in that notification button so that every time we bring you the best, it will notify you. But here with me today, all the way from South Africa, One Africa Radio TV, we are bringing you the best. And with me today, I have a guest that is going to tell us more about himself, and of course, that we are going to have the best time ever. Sit back and relax because we are going deeper. Today with me, I have Taye, who is an author, historian, genealogist, a teacher, a beekeeper, an urban gardener, podcast host, an independent hip-hop artist. My goodness, so many titles and so many duties that he does. I'm so excited. He's also an author, and he has visited over 60 countries. You will get to understand why 60 countries. Maybe we can also put him as one of those who loves to travel. But ladies and gentlemen, do put your hands together and welcome Taye on the podcast with me today. Taye.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
It's an honor. I appreciate you.
All the way from USA, you came to South Africa.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful country.
Yeah, hey.
I love it.
We are blessed to have you in South Africa. And
you,
tell
Papa.
us, who is Taye?
Oh, man. I mean, you did a phenomenal job introducing me. I could say first and foremost, I'm a world traveler. I love visiting different countries. And I've had the honor of living in South Africa, visiting South Africa multiple times. So my main goal is to relocate to the continent.
Why you like traveling? Is there anything you're doing as you travel?
I love trying new foods, meeting new people, learning about different cultures and different languages, listening to different music. As you go to each country, it's a totally different experience because a lot of times people generalize Africa as one place, but it's almost 60 different countries, 3,000 ethnic groups, thousands of languages, and just phenomenally beautiful people.
Wow. So when you go to every country, you basically just go there and also try the food. And did you find something weird to say, do you really eat this kind of food?
I try not to judge, but I do more than traveling. I've studied abroad. I've actually lived in different countries. I went to college in Brazil. I went to college in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So I like to focus in on the history because I am a historian myself. I'm an author. I write historical books.
Awesome.
I'm a genealogist. I help a lot of Black Americans trace their ancestry, trace their roots, find out who their family members were 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, help them find different documents and things like that, marriage certificates, death certificates, birth certificates, slave schedules, military records. It's a very, very exciting journey and process.
So you originally from USA and you studied there. What did you study in the US?
My main focus was history, Black history. I tend to look at Black people globally. We got brothers and sisters all over the world. So I try to tap into each and every one of those, in the diaspora and on the continent and learn more because we have a lot in common. We don't really know what happened here or what happened there. But if we sit down and lay everything out on the table, we can see South Africans and Black Americans, we got a lot in common.
What is one thing that you feel we actually want? It's just we staying in different places, but we actually won.
Yeah,
when you were studying your history, what is it that you found as Blacks or as Africans that is common?
Well, we definitely share the same struggle. We want the same things. The music, we're all equally musically talented, athletically talented. We got revolutionaries and fighters and great writers. And, you know, we just got so much to offer the world, which we've always done that from the beginning of time. You know, this is where life started. And we just spread out. We went to Europe and Asia and America, and we built these places. We didn't just build Africa and Egypt. We built America. We built Brazil. We built India.
True.
You know, so but a lot of people don't give us that credit. So that's my job as a historian, to get concrete evidence, because people can say a lot of things, but when you go to places and you see things for yourself, then that makes a big difference. Yeah, definitely.
You are also a hip hop artist.
Yes, definitely.
How did a historian and hip hop how did this meet?
Well, back in the days when hip hop first started, that's what it was about. You know, a lot of people make music for the sake of dancing or having fun or partying or even doing drugs or doing whatever they want to do. But the original hip hop artists, they would talk about being black, being proud to be black, about the history and uniting and fighting and struggling and different things like that. So I kind of went old school, and I try to tie in the history, being proud to be black and being positive, and giving people the opportunity to listen to music that will empower them and that will make them feel better about being a black man or being a black woman or what have you.
Awesome. So since you were traveling all across 60 countries, and I believe you've also traveled in African countries?
Yeah.
Which African countries that when you went there and you find that there's so much uniqueness, but you find that people are not even aware of that they're sitting on gold?
Man, South Africa is one of them places, you know, because South Africa have some of the most beautiful women in the world, some of the most beautiful
there we
culture.
go. Did you hear that?
And language, and it's just so much. And even with the animals and the natural resources, you have gold, you have diamond, you got wine, you got tea, you have all of these amazing things. But as you go from country to country, you'll see that Africa just has so much to offer. That's why the entire world is dependent upon Africa. But sometimes our brothers and sisters here, we don't realize how much value we have. We don't realize how much we have to offer because we're all kind of spread out. So we got to bring it together. Because sometimes, like as a Black American, we only focusing on Black American history. We don't know about South African history or history in Ghana or history in Zimbabwe or Ethiopia and vice versa. So if we bring all of that knowledge and all of that information together, you know, it's like 5 fingers. We got to bring it together for more power. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. So now that you are a historian and you have studied so much about human, I believe, and did you? Because for me, it's like you're saying, to understand where a person is coming from, and would you say that will make us to be united and not looking at, say, you're from Zimbabwe, you're from that, as long as we know that our history way back, it was one, then now, because of where we stayed, then we studied. Would you say for us to understand where we come from, it will make us to be united as Africans?
I think so, because it will empower us. We will find more respect and love for other African brothers and sisters. We could say, wow, look at what these Black people did in America. Look at what these Black people did in Ghana. Look at what these Black people did in Ethiopia. Look at what these Black people did in Brazil. And we could bring all of this together and we could help each other. You know what I'm saying? If everybody give a little bit, we'll have a lot. You know, it doesn't take a big, massive revolution or anything like that. It just takes a moment to step back and see all of the things that we have went through and all of the things that we have accomplished, and then we'll have a foundation to move forward and to stand on.
But what do you think makes us as Africans to fight each other? From when you were studying history, what do you think is that thing that make us to like not even understand each other and we fight each other?
Man, that's a $1 million question. Obviously, we know what the problem is, but I'm more so working towards the solution. So I think that having that broad sense of history will eliminate that divisiveness. If you look at yourself as a Black person, then you'll respect and love Black people all over the world, no matter where they come from. You my sister. You feel me? I got to protect you and I got to respect you, whether you from South Africa or Jamaica or Brazil. I see a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's first and foremost. most.
Awesome. So in USA, you have done, I see on your profile, like you are an urban gardener, you are this and this. What exactly are you doing in when you are in America? What is an urban gardener? What is it that you are doing there? Because it looks like you are you are so open-minded to a whole lot of things. And I saw you are also running a broadcast. Where you're bringing like a lot of people to interview them in different things?
Yeah, definitely. So back home in America, I kind of got into food security. So Black Americans in the communities we live in, we don't own our grocery stores. We don't own the gas stations. We don't own the hair stores. Foreign groups of people own these things. So in 2016, I wanted to open a food cooperative, meaning the people in the community can own the grocery store. We'll make the profit. We'll hire the people. We'll be self-sufficient. So from there, I went into urban gardening. Then I say, let's take it a step further. Let's grow our own food. Let's get our own seeds. Let's get our own land. And we just build upon that. And then once I got an understanding for growing fruits and vegetables, I understood that there was a need for bees. If we don't have bees, then we can't survive because they pollinate the flowers, which create the fruit and give the animals food to eat as well. So bees are very vital to our existence, but most people, when they see a bee, they look at it as a nuisance, and their first thought is to kill it or destroy it. But we have to handle.
So you get offended when somebody kills a bee.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm afraid that he's gonna bite me, so that's why I have to. So you basically look at a problem and come up with a solution.
Right.
And how did the project go?
The project went great. Each month we'll have different events for children and people in the community to come out and educate them on not only the importance of beekeeping, but how to do it properly. Like you say, you may have a fear of bees, but we give people protective equipment. We show them how to do it the right way so they don't get hurt, and also so the bees don't get hurt as well.
Wow, that is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still here and we still continue with our guest today. And just to remind you that this is Road for Hope Talk Show, One Africa Radio TV. And of course, I'm reminding you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and of course, turn on that notification button, because we are here to bring you Africa to the world, and we bring the world to Africa. And yes, we are still here with our guest, Taye. You know, I was trying to pronounce your surname. It sounds African, but you were. But are your grandparents or your parents from Africa?
No. My family is originally from America. Taye Uhuru is a name that I took for myself because.
Wow! So you basically love Africa.
Right, definitely, because a lot of Black Americans, most of us, we have the last name of our white slave masters. During slavery, you know, if it was a European that owned you, then you would take that name. So if your name was Johnson or Jackson or Smith or Thomas, when slavery ended, a lot of the Black people kept those names so they could reconnect with their lost family members. So 200-300 years later, I decided to take an African name for myself, because if I marry a woman, I want her to have my last name. Right. If I have children, I want them to have my last name. I don't want to give them something like, like a generational curse. So I just try to focus on solutions, doing the best that I can do to make change for myself and then for the next generation.
Awesome. Now let's talk about your music career as a hip hop. How is it going? What are you doing? Do you have an album? Are you on the your music, is it everywhere? What's happening with your music?
Okay, my music, basically I'm an independent artist, so I have the freedom of creating music whenever I feel like it and releasing it whenever I feel like it. So I don't have an album right now, but I have had the opportunity to work with different artists all around the world.
Awesome.
I've shot music videos, I've been in recording studios, radio stations, television stations, and I've had the opportunity to share my music with my brothers and sisters all over the world independently. A lot of major artists can't do that. A lot of major artists don't come to Africa. A lot of major artists don't go to Asia. So
do you also connect artists? Say, for example, you know this artist and there's this a young artist that is coming up. Are you able to connect them if they say, My role model is this artist. Are you the kind of person that because this is Rope for Hope, so we connect in the rope. Are you also doing that for the artist, for somebody who's sitting out there and say, I don't know what to do. I really want to meet this artist, and you find that you know the artist. Do you connect those artists?
Yeah, definitely. I connected artists from Brazil with artists in South Africa, or artists from South Africa to artists in Amsterdam. But also, I'm connected with major artists as well. I have a podcast, so I interview major artists regularly, people that have sold millions of records, people that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Like which artist?
I interviewed DJ Yella from NWA. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so millions of records. Yesterday I interviewed Wild Style. He's a producer of Crucial Conflict. They've worked with R. Kelly, Twista, Ludacris, and many other artists. I've interviewed Lenny Williams. He's an old school artist. Speech from Arrested Development. They're Grammy Award winners. Platinum, Diamond, you know. The list goes on. 112 from Bad Boy. They did a lot of records with Biggie Smalls and Faith Evans and Puff Daddy, you know, writing, singing, and producing. And a lot of other artists, and a lot of athletes and authors as well.
Also, so do you also, in terms of the African artists, do you have those African artists that, or is this what you are working on to get African artists to get to understand the music industry? And also, I hear you talking about being an author, but we will come back to that. Do you also have African artists that you want to grow, or currently you are growing, in order for them to understand? Because I believe most of us, we look up to those artists to say, wow, what an artist to be there. Do you also look into African countries to help them do that?
Yeah, definitely. I try to lead by example. Like I say, I don't have a major record deal, but I can travel all over the world and promote my music and reach out to different artists as well. But I would like to expand in terms of my podcast and interview more South African artists or more African artists as well, which I have done, but I would like to continue because I want to make it a global thing.
Awesome. Now let's talk about you being an author. Do you, as an author, you have how many books, or what is it about you being an author?
Man, I love to write, and again, I love history. So my first book was based upon my family's history. So during the 1960s, my mom's brother, he was a black nationalist, and what he was trying to do was reintroduce African Americans to African history, African culture, African fashion, African language, African music. So they would do different things. They would open up shops. They would teach Swahili. They would give the people in the organization African names, and they were independent. So they would make their own clothes. They would make their own African style dresses and dashikis and head coverings and, you know, different things like that. They would teach African spirituality, but it was a self-defense group as well. So when the oppressor tried to attack them, they were prepared, you know. So a lot of people don't know this history. So they did military drills, they did target practice, they did, you know, practicing with the machetes and different things like that. But they had a lot of positive programs. They had nurseries, they had classes, they had breakfast programs. They would feed people in the community breakfast. They would feed people lunch. You know, they had a drug rehabilitation center. They would try to get the people in the community to stop using drugs. They had a community patrol. So if they seen people selling drugs in the community, they would stop them. If they seen people committing burglaries or purse snatchings or pimping and prostitution, they would stop those things. They didn't want those things inside of the community. So it's a story that I wrote, and I wanted to share that with the world as part of my family's history.
So the book is out?
Yes, definitely. It's
What
available.
is the name of the book?
The name of the book is called The Afro Set. That was the name of my uncle's organization. So Afro was short for African.
Oh, Afro.
So they promoted that African culture in its entirety. You know what I'm saying? My uncle, he was a poet. He was a playwright. He was a musician. So they would teach the kids.
So this thing is in the family?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
Where can they get your book?
They can get it online on my website, TayeUhuru.com. I'm on social media, Taye Uhuru, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Awesome. Wow. What a mouthful from Taye. And of course, we are still going to come back and we talk more with him about this African thing that he's so much interested on. And of course, he's a historian. So he writes more and he likes to actually invent. We will give you more details in case you want to get hold of him and just inquire about something. We will be right back after the break.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this.
Welcome back. And just to remind you again, do subscribe and hit that notification button, because yes, Rope for Hope is here to take you to the world and to bring world to you. One Africa Radio TV, we are there in all our social media. We are One Africa Radio TV in all our social media. And of course, we are still here with our guest Taye, and we had a lot that he was telling us about. And he is here in South Africa at this time, all the way from USA, and we have heard a lot about him. Taye, once again, thank you for coming, and you are welcome.
Honor. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. So why are you in South Africa?
Well, for two reasons.
Yeah.
A part of my historical journey, I take Black Americans to different countries in parts of Africa so they can learn about the history and the culture. So recently I had a group of 6 women. It was an all-girls group trip, and I brought them to South Africa. So I took them to Johannesburg, I took them to Soweto, Pretoria, Durban. And, you know, this is something that I like to do at least once or twice a year.
Okay.
But secondly, I'm here to promote my music, promote everything I'm doing. I have some studio sessions lined up, a video shoot lined up, connecting with artists and friends.
So if anyone has got a gig out there, and they can definitely contact you and to come and promote your music.
Yes, definitely.
All right, everybody, you heard that right. He is available in South Africa for the next 3 months, I guess.
Yeah.
You're going back in March.
Yeah, I
somewhere
believe so.
around
I
there.
have about 90 days to stay
90
in
days.
Africa, yeah.
So he's still here, ladies and gentlemen. Do take an advantage of this time and do invite him to your gig, and he's gonna do the doing. Now let's talk about your future plan. I don't even want to ask if you're married or not, the way you travel so much. But let's talk about your future plan. What are your future plans? What is it that you are going to do? And because this is so exciting for me, traveling and just see countries. And you know, most of us, we even afraid to even go to the next province. You're like, oh my God, the people, are they going to welcome me? But you've been traveling all the countries almost. So what are your future plans in terms of your music and you being an author and in all other endeavors of your life?
Right now, I'm just trying to stay consistent. So like I said, I want to do more tours this year. I want to learn more history and more culture. I'm working on another book. I would like to write about the history and the music of African people all around the world. You know, I want to take the interviews that I have had on my podcast and use them as transcripts to, you know, fill in the voids for the misinformation that we may have about where music originated from and how it has influenced the people in Brazil, the people in the Caribbean, the people in America. So that's something I want to work on. I want to do a documentary for my book, The Afro Set. I want to show people videos of my uncle and his organization marching and protesting and fighting against the oppressor. I definitely want to make more music. I want to connect and collaborate with more artists around the world and definitely travel.
And as when you travel across the African countries or across the world promoting your music, how is the do they accept you, or you find sometimes like, oh my God, this is just so difficult for people to accept who you are? So how is the reception wherever you go?
I believe that all of the experiences that I have had dealing with black people and African people all around the world have been positive. Usually when I share my music with people, they tap into it and they want to, you know, work with me or recommend that I work with other people. So I have all positive stories in terms of my music, because the music is like a icebreaker, because sometimes when you go to different countries, people speak different languages. So it may be hard to communicate verbally, but people recognize good music. So even if we don't speak the same language, we can enjoy and share and get a vibe off of music.
You keep talking about your broadcast. What do you do in your broadcast?
Well, basically, I just interview people that I've always admired, celebrities, artists, entertainers, athletes, musicians. So I look for these people. Some of them I know personally, and then sometimes people may recommend someone to me, and then I'll try to contact them. And then I'll sit down with them, and then I'll reflect over their career and the great things that they have accomplished.
One other question that I wanted to ask you, did you had a difficult upbringing? Did you had a difficulty when you were growing up as a child? Did you experience any difficulty to say, wow, like as a black man, as a black child, it's so difficult the way you were treated, maybe both at home or the community as such? Reason I'm asking is because there are lots of kids out there that they were brought out from, you know, a difficult poverty, but yet they're making it. So a way to talk to somebody out there to say, you might be going through what you're going through, but here I am as Taye, I've been there.
Right, definitely. My childhood for me was fun. I grew up, I had fun, we played, but we was poor. You know, I had a parent that was on drugs, so there were negative things that happened.
You had a parent who was on drugs?
Yeah,
And how did it affect you?
I think it affected me like it affected everybody else. You know, you don't understand because you're a child, and then these are things that you may think about as you get older. So in response to what you're saying, I started a mental health group for black men and black boys, because
Is that where it come from?
Well, it depends on the person, because like you say, a lot of people go through the same thing, but they react to it differently. Some people may feel like the past is something that they can't get over, so it may create depression for them. Some people, their biggest fear might be the future. They're worrying about what's happening tomorrow or next week or next year. Some people are just stressed out. They're in the middle of something right now. Something's going wrong right now. So to go back to me or myself, I think that I have gotten over my past because I have been fueled and I have been driven to accomplish so many great things. You have to stay motivated. You have to set your goals. Regardless of what happened to you, you still have the rest of your life to live. So if you live in the ghetto, if you're poor, if you got a parent on drugs, you still can travel around the world. You still can make your dreams come true. You can live in the hood where people get shot. A lot of my friends got shot. I had a friend that was 15 years old. He got shot 10 times. So it starts young for black people. And I think that South Africans can relate to that, a lot of gun violence and things like that. But don't let that define you. That's where you're from, and that gives you your strength, but use that as fuel. So all of the negative energy you get, like they say, energy is not destroyed, it's not created, it's just transferred. So some people take negative energy and they give it back to the world. They were abused, so now they abuse people. I'm gonna take all that negative energy and use it to fuel me to go further, to do something positive.
Oh my God, you say something very profound to say, don't let that define you.
Definitely.
But how did you yourself made a decision? Because I know when we speak reality, it's not easy to grow up in an abusive environment or, like you said, in a drug environment where you decide, I want to get out of this and I want to live different. At what point did you just decide, you know what, this is my life, I'm not gonna live what my parents are living, I'm gonna live my life and make things better for somebody out there? At what point did you come to that decision?
I think now is the best time for anybody that's viewing. You can make that decision right now because you don't know what tomorrow may bring. So you have to decide, because you might have brothers and sisters and friends and people in the community who are going through the same thing as you, but you have to decide for yourself. Like, I'm not going to get into this or get into that. This is my dream, this is my goal, and I'm gonna put everything that I can into making this happen. You don't know how it's gonna play out or how it's gonna turn out, but at the end of the day, you are responsible for making your dreams come true. You could be whatever you wanna be. I'm from Cleveland. My city is the poorest city in America. There's no other city that has a higher poverty rate than my city. So I know what poverty is. So if I could make it out of that, you could make it out of what you're going through.
Wow. Wow. Don't let your past define you. Last word from you to somebody out there who's really feeling, I cannot make it. Just a word of encouragement as we close the show. Somebody who's watching and say, Taye, I hear you, but it's not easy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not easy. So like I was saying, that's why I started the mental health group for Black people. You know, we have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group, we do calls, we do meetings, we do different things where we share and we talk and we conversate. Some people may need companionship or fellowship. You know, there are people out there that can help you, you know, get through whatever you're going through. But you have to be open-minded. You know, you have to admit that there's a problem, that you're going through something, and just stay focused and do things, do positive things to help you get through. Like I do jogging, I do meditation, I do yoga, prayer, exercise, reading, swimming. You know, it's a lot of things that you can do to help clear your mind. Beekeeping, that's something that helped me mentally. You know what I'm saying? Going into the beehive. When you go into a beehive, you have to strictly focus on that. You can't think about other things, because if you move the bees the wrong way, they're gonna make a certain sound and you're gonna refocus. Like I have to focus on this. So you doing that for an hour, it relaxes you, it calms you. Because a lot of people will see them on the news sometimes. You be like, this person killed this person over this, or this person beat this person up over that. It's usually something very small, but a lot of times it's an accumulation of things that have happened since childhood, high school, you know, bad relationships and things like that, but they just haven't come to terms with the things that have happened to them.
Lastly, Taye, where can they find you if anyone wants to get hold of you one more time? Where can they find you?
Definitely. You can contact me. I have a website, TayeUhuru.com.
Taye, which is spelled T-A-Y-E. Uhuru, it's U-B...
No, U-H-U-R-U.
There you go.
You can find me on social media, Taye Uhuru, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Taye Uhuru. It's all the same.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you. And from us in One Africa Radio TV, we wish you all the best. And of course, we want to see you again here so that you can take us to go. And, you know, I'm interested about the bee thing, the way I'm so scared of a bee. Thank you so much, Taye. We really appreciate you. Us from One Africa Radio TV, we wish you all the best, and we wish to see you again when you visit South Africa. Don't forget to come here. And really, I'm interested about the bee thing. When you say you just need to focus when you are there, it's really got to me. Listeners, viewers, everybody out there, thank you so much for staying with us, and we really appreciate you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. From me, I love you all. Dr. Hope, your host, Rope for Hope, and we are here, One Africa Radio TV. Peace.
Dear God, I got one question. I need to know, do revolutionaries go to heaven? And if so, may their legacies last forever and their seeds grow. Tell them that we love them so and never let them die slow. It's like we cursed to be born black. We was kings and queens, now look where we at. I know it won't be long before we take it back. I just hope I live long enough to see it happen, and that's a fact.
One Africa Radio TV.